Okay, maybe on your guys' days off of practice, you guys can practice or hang out or get to know your teammates' strength or your teammates' weaknesses and work on that. It's also very important to have a close bond with your teammates. You need to get along with them. Okay, you also need to trust their loyalty, or you need to give them some loyalty that you know that you have their backs.
Let's get started.
Cheers. I don't know what we're cheering for, but cheers. Today we are going to talk about being a team player, because being a team player is a very important thing. A lot of people, sadly, some people don't know how to be a team player. I don't know how. It's not that hard. You see your teammate down, you help them out. But first off, real quick, this real talk with K.M.B. Yeah, the signs are a little messed up. I'll fix that later. But this is real talk with K.M.B. and we are talking about why it's important to be a team. Um, in any sport that you play, most of the time, I would say that you are on a team. Football, the quarterback needs his offensive lineman to cover him. The defensive lineman need to get past the offensive lineman to work as a team to sack the quarterback. You know what I mean? The the safety needs to cover some of the linebackers because they can't cover everything. Um, Cornerbacks, all that. Like you need your team to cover you. You need your team to work together. Uh, Baseball, the fieldmen need the infielders support. They need to be ready. They need to know each other's tactics. The catcher and the pitcher need to work together. If you don't do that, it's not gonna go well. In basketball, you always need that one person that you need to know that you can always count on. You need to know who's the best shooter. You need to know who's the best block person to block. You need to know um who's the best at layups, who can do the best rebound for you. In soccer, you need to know the person that is the fastest. You need to know who you can pass to. You need to know who can shoot, who's open, all that. You need to work as a team. You need to have each other's backs, especially. And a lot of people don't know this, but even in track, you need to work as a team. Um, think about it though. It's like you run one race, okay? And then the other person does bad. Guess what? That lowers your guys' team on the board. A lot of people don't realize that even in track, you have to work as a team. Even in wrestling, same thing as track, where if you don't do so well in your wrestling match or whatever, you mess it up for the team. Um, yeah. So, like I said, being just a teammate in general is a very good thing that you need to have. Okay? When your man is down, you help them up. Okay? No one should ask for help. You should just know when your teammate is down or when they're messing up. You need to talk it out. Okay? I'm sorry, but a lot of people mistake in this too. When someone's doing bad in a sport, they yell at them. They say they're doing terrible. That is not going to help your teammate out to do better. Will, like, actually, I mean, this is gonna sound very sensitive or whatever, but all you gotta do is just ask, yo, is everything okay? What can I do to help you? Maybe after practice, you guys can practice even more. Okay, maybe on your guys' days off of practice, you guys can practice or hang out or get to know your teammates' strength or your teammates' weaknesses and work on that. It's also very important to have a close bond with your teammates. You need to get along with them. Okay, you also need to trust their loyalty, or you need to give them some loyalty that you know that you have their backs. You know, if one man goes down with the team, the whole team goes down. That's facts. Um, just being a teammate, it can be difficult at times. Um, you know, you may not like the team that you're on and stuff like that. You know, that goes to a lot of professional athletes too. You know, they might be the fastest person on the team. They may be the strongest person on the team, but the team isn't doing well. And that person thinks that they're too good for that team. Um, but guess what? You can't do everything on the team, okay? Yeah, your team might not be that good at what they do. Well, why don't you tell them that? Why don't you help them practice, be good as you? But instead you're gonna whine and pout and say that, oh, I'm too good for this team. That's prideful. That's what that is. Um, but like I said, always have a good relationship with your team. Um, you know, it's always have their backs. Um, Something doesn't feel right, say something. If a person goes down, you go down with them. As hard as that is, but you do need to do that. Depending on what the situation is, of course. Because sometimes your teammate may go down for something that you weren't even part of. Say, like in high school, like going to a party and now drinking and stuff like that, and you were invited to the party, but you didn't even go in. But they can say, "Oh, but you still were there. You still dropped me off. You're the reason why I went to the party." To me personally, I don't think you should go down for something like that. Cause yeah, you may have dropped them off and stuff like that, but they're the ones that decided to go into the party. You didn't. They're the ones that decided to drink. They're the ones that made their own decision. You didn't make their decision for you. Um, that's where a lot of people mistaken that from. Yeah. So like I said, being a good teammate is just trying to get their loyalty, try to have their backs, try to have a good connection with them, build good relationships with them, all that. Um, yeah. So now we're gonna talk about teams that you should be on. You know, you might want to be on the LA Lakers. You know, you might want to be on the LA Rams. Like if you're trying to go professional, say so. You might want to work for that dream team that you want to go on. Um, Truthfully, as I didn't talk about this much on my professional athlete episode. If you guys want to check that out, check that out. But like if you have that dream team that you want to work on and stuff like that, you sometimes might get signed to a different team. You know, it may be a team that you didn't realize that you actually like to be on it. You may be drafted to a team that you wish you weren't on because they were bad that year or whatever. But you never know in God's plan. You know, there might be a reason why you're on that team. You know, maybe your high school team wasn't so well and you're looking for a scholarship, but you can't get it because your team is not that good. Okay, that may suck, but maybe God has different plans for you. Maybe going pro isn't your thing. Maybe just coaching or leading, maybe that's more of your thing. Or maybe just going to a small school and being good. Okay, because here's the thing a lot of times too about good athletes, especially in high school, you may be good in her high school, but guess what? There's probably people better than you outside of your high school. And that goes for professional teams too. That goes for colleges too, of course. Somebody may be always better than you. And that is where you need to rely on your team to have your back. Um, and again, it's very important to be a good team. You know what I mean? Like you need everybody to be good on your team or to have your back. You know, you can't always rely on that one person. Okay? Like say in football, if the running back is the only person that scores a touchdown, guess what? The other team will know that you are always going to give it to the running back. Um, just like in basketball, you know that one person that's always good at making threes. You know that you're always going to pass to that person to go shoot, and they're always going to block that one person. That is why you need to work as a team and know other people's strengths of what they can do instead of relying on that one player, because you guys are a team and you need to work together. Also too, hating on your teammates, don't do, bro. Like, that's messed up. Like, you guys are supposed to be like a family. Okay? You making fun of somebody, you judging on somebody, you picking on somebody on your team and stuff like that, that one person being the butt of the joke. What kind of teammate are you? What kind of friend are you? Okay? Also too, I think a lot of being on a team, I think you need to spend time with each other outside of the field or the court, because that helps you guys build a friendship better, and building a friendship is very good if you're on a team. Um Also too, if you're looking to make friends or whatever, maybe join a team. You never know, maybe your one friend might be your one teammate might be your best friend in the future. You ever seen movies? You ever seen, like, how the quarterback and the wide receiver are just automatically always best friends and stuff like that? You never know, that could be you in high school. um but yeah, so always always work as a team. Never think full of yourself. Never think that you are the best player. I carry the team. Okay, well, there's no I in team. Like, literally, there is no I in team. Okay, you might be a very good player, but there is other players that are better than you. Try to make your team good. Okay, you guys should be the best. Not just you should be the best. You guys should be the best. Um, Going for the parents out there that want their kids to be best in these sports and yada 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 yada. Show your kids how to be a teammate too. Do not forget that. Yeah, you should push your kid to be the best, but, like, also too, don't forget to tell your kids, listen, help your teammates out, because they are also part of the team. Um, that's all I really got to say. Thank you guys for listening. If you guys are on a team, don't forget to be a good teammate. Um, and if you guys aren't doing so well in the sport that you're playing or anything that's going on in life, don't forget, it's all in God's timing. It's all in God's plan. He has a purpose for you for a reason. He placed you in that position where you are for a reason. Maybe there's a different, better opportunity. Maybe you are supposed to stay there. I don't know. It's all up to God, and pray about it. Yeah. So I hope you guys like the sports segment of November. It's fun making it. Next month we are gonna talk about, since it's December, we are gonna talk about Christmas, as I like to call it, Christmas, because I think we should put Jesus first on Christmas. That's just my thing. All right, but I'll see you guys next week.